Hello and welcome back. Hope you are good, doing well. So we are having a nice opportunity, just simply setting up over there on CAD against the yen, and you are looking for that to drop. So if I'm gonna look at this weekly chart, so we clearly can see that the CAD is just simply gaining against the yen, all right, and we know that the rates are being raised by the Bank of Canada and Bank of Japan wasn't raising the interest rate or changing the policy, which was causing policy divergence. But right now we are having some policy changes from the Bank of Japan, and Bank of Canada might have peaked their interest rate. But before going to look at this, so I'm going to look at quickly on some charts, all right, and then we're going to come on dollar on CAD yen, that what kind of drop we may see and why we are expecting that to drop. So there we can see that the policy is in a tight territory. So this is basically this one, all right. So this is Canada core inflation minus Canada interest rate. So we can see that the interest rate has simply gone beyond the core inflation. So the core inflation has dropped below the interest rate, or we can say that the interest rate has gone above the Canada core inflation. Yeah, so core inflation is below there is the Canada core inflation. And there we can see that the core inflation is at 3.20 and the target is the 2%. They are looking inflation to bring to the 2%, okay, the core inflation and the headline inflation. So if I'm going to look at the headline inflation, so headline inflation is standing at 2.80, all right. So the 2.80 and 2.80 and 320, so very much close to the 2%. So if I'm going to look at the interest rate, so the interest rate is simply standing at Canada interest rate is standing at 5%. Okay, so very well above the inflation and headline inflation and core inflation. So the policy is in a very restrictive territory from Bank of Canada. We can say that, all right. So very restrictive territory. So we only can expect from Bank of Canada to change its policy from this place, all right. So we can't expect it to just keep raising the interest rate for further upside. So yeah, another 25 basis point, which is very less likely. Yeah, but they can go after the Fed. Yeah, because the Fed is holding the interest rate at 550 right now, so maybe at another 25 basis point. But yes, hiking cycle is almost over in the Canada. So these numbers, the core inflation and the headline inflation numbers and the interest rate, these three charts are telling us that policy is in a very restrictive territory in the Canada. You only can expect policy to reverse from these areas in coming months. So the strength we got on the CAD because of these policy measures is almost over. Yeah, so the longer term picture needs to play. The longer term picture is the reversal in the policy and convergence from the Bank of Japan. So that's the bigger picture behind the weaknesses on the CAD. I think I have already explained that in one of my analysis, but hopefully you understand that now. So the chart which we are looking is the CAD yen. Okay, so if I'm gonna use these two charts to just let you know the idea that what is the policy convergence, which is just happening right now. So if I'm gonna pull out this chart, all right, and gonna use very much similar chart, which is just telling us that where is the repricing gap. The repricing gap we may see in the Japan. All right, so we clearly can see that the Bank of Canada, right? So the Bank of Canada has taken the interest rate away from the inflation, and that's why the this is I mean the negative territory, negative 2.20. So means that clearly the interest rate is very, very well above the inflation, or inflation is significantly falling. This trend is telling us that the inflation is falling very, very aggressively in the Canada. All right, but that's not the case in the Japan yet. All right, so the Japanese inflation is still holding higher, or we can say that the rates are still too low. Rates are, policies, ultra loose in the Japan. But what is the trend, okay, which we are going to see in the Japan? This is not the trend, okay? We are not going to see that trend in inflation, in Japanese inflation. So the trend is going to be this, okay? The Japanese inflation is also going to fall very much similar like the rest of the countries, the rest of the developed countries. Yeah, and we also can see that the Bank of Japan is changing its policy, all right, tweaked, and is letting the 10-year yields to go up to 1%. Yeah, so that can bring down the inflation aggressively lower in the Japan, and that's what we need. We need inflation to fall in the Japan, all right. So the history tells us inflation, is not sustaining in the Japan since last couple of decades, right? And the trend definitely gonna be to the downside. So what gonna drive the Japanese inflation? The external factors, all right? So the external factors like, inflation. We are having slowdown in the China, right? Chinese economy has slowed down significantly. Yeah, means that we may see ease in the supply. All right, so supply chain can be eased, which can bring down the prices across the world. So supply chain is easing. Yeah, inflation is improving around the world, dropping. Yeah, but not dropping in the Japan. Yeah, so lagging. So the trend significantly, simply going to be to the downside. So the trend going to be to the downside, and that's what you are looking to. So that's the reason behind the strength on the yen. So in longer term, you're going to see strength on the yen. So is that picture going to change? If I'm going to pull out this part, sorry. So if I'm going to copy that and going to pull it on there, and I think I won't be able to use that, so I want to use it. I want to put it on top of that. So yeah, there you go. So let's just look at this way. So I'm gonna remove this right now. So I'm gonna remove that and gonna add again. So it's already added in the history now. So there we can see that the trend gonna be to the downside, the Japanese inflation. So Japanese inflation gonna also fall. So where is the edge? Where is the edge right now? Should CAD yen continue to keep pushing more higher? Yeah, CAD is already made its move because of the tighter policy. Okay, where is where the tighter policy should come in the Japan, all right, and inflation should fall. So that's the reason. So the longer term picture is not going to change on the CAD yen, but that's not the setup for today on the CAD yen, all right. But this is the picture which you need to understand behind the setup, why we are expecting CAD yen to draw for longer term. And that's not going to change anytime soon. So the setup you are looking on the CAD yen is going to be a very, short-lived, all right? And let's look at the longer term picture first. All right, so the longer term picture is simply going to be that, all right? So like after 2008 or in 2015, yeah? So that picture, that's a longer term picture. So that's not going to change. So the setup which we are looking right now is on a 4-hour time frame. Okay, so price has pulled back. So we know that what has caused these two movements. Okay, if you have seen my previous dollar yen analysis, you know that what has caused this move and what has caused that move. So policy tweaked has caused that move. All right. So policy tweaked from Bank of Japan caused that, and right after tweaking the policy, next day they were Monday, yeah. So they were buying bonds again. They were trying to contain the inflation. So flexibility terms came in. I have explained that in my dollar yen analysis. So what you are looking, you're simply looking CAD yen to continue to keep dragging lower all the way back to this previous low, or let me pull some lines over there. So you are simply looking for this trade, the trade which is just already happening over there. So if I'm gonna show you different targets, then you're looking those targets. So yeah, so first of all, you're looking for a short-term target there within these areas, and the medium-term and longer-term target going to be come after all the way within these areas. Okay, so that's what you're looking, by the way. So on lower time frame, the analysis is very much similar like the KVN. All right, so correct over there and drop or test that top and then drop to the downside. All right, so hope that makes sense and you got the idea that what you are looking for. You're looking these trades, okay, these trades, and at the end to drop to the downside. Yeah. Okay, so thank you.